All right, today we are playing the 4th round of our Team Challenge Qualifier. This round, after this little top cut to top 4, we are win and in. We're 2-1, started off 2-0, lost that last round against Galaxy Mewtwo. This final, 4th and final round, we are playing against Dragapult Vmax, a deck that, again, because of the popularity of Galaxy Mewtwo at the time, this is a couple weeks ago, had risen up to the top because of its ability to do weakness against Galaxy Mewtwo, because of its ability to do weakness against the Urshifus. It was a very strong deck at the time. As always, I'm playing Lucario and Melmetal, and again, this is win and in. So we win this match, we are going to top 4. Let's get right into it and see how we do. Alright, getting into the first game here. Obviously, know my opponent is playing Dragapult Vmax. They're also playing that with the Gengar and Mimikyu GX, which is one of the mons I'm kind of scared about, because typically I like to load my hand up. I like to have a lot of trainers, a lot of options, and so the ability for that mon, we kind of saw it in our last video against that Galaxy Mewtwo. The ability to Horror House GX and then Poltergeist into us can be pretty devastating, and it generally means they're just going to be able to remove one of my mons right off the bat. I have to mulligan, but I mulligan into a hand that I'm actually kind of liking. We haven't seen their the dogs be effective at all yet, at least the Zamazenta, the shield dogs be effective. We've seen the sword dog be very effective. In this matchup, though, the Zamazenta is going to be very strong. The Zamazenta is going to be awesome because it is going to allow us to wall the Dragapult Vmax to some extent. It just means that if it's in the active spot, we won't be taking 120 damage from the Zamazenta, but he will be placing the, I think it's 5 damage counters, however he wants to place them. So we don't get to wall forever, but it is going to help us quite a bit. We get the quick ball, and we're going to quick ball right into the Zacian V, because as we typically do on our first turn, we really want to be intrepid sorting. We see our opponent has a pretty full hand here. They didn't attach for an energy the first turn that they went. They just put that Mimikyu down. This is a problem in my deck, this Mimikyu, because I have the Mallow and Lana. The Mimikyu prevents benched Pokemon from being healed on your opponent's bench. And the way Mallow and Lana works is that Mallow and Lana first moves my active Pokemon to the bench and then heals it. This is an obvious problem because we are not able to heal because of this Mimikyu. Unfortunately, my opponent is playing Crushing Hammer, so that's going to be something we're going to have to deal with. We lose that first Metal Energy. Hopefully we can find ourselves a Metal Saucer to start accelerating. We didn't find any Metal Energy off of our Zamazenta originally, so we didn't accelerate any Metal Energy there, and my opponent also has a Quick Ball. Something tells me I think they want to go for that Mimikyu, although they already did attach an energy this turn. Okay, they're just going for the Crobat. I know my opponent really likes to go for the Mimikyus in this matchup. He sees the value in them too, especially when my Lucario and Melmetal is in the active slot. If I'm being most effective with my strategy, I most likely actually want to have the Zacian in the front slot, intrepid sorting, and tanking that first Poltergeist attack, and then, going on from there. If I, get Horror Housed into a Poltergeist into the Lucario Melmetal, and he's able to knock me out, that's going to be pretty scary for me, because that's 3 prizes right off the bat. My opponent plays the Power Plant. Not going to affect any Pokemon in either of our decks. He is able to Marnie, though. He Marnies, he gets the Dragapult Vmax, he gets the Gengar and Mimikyu, he gets the Kricketune. My opponent's playing the Kricketune, which I actually think is pretty nice. He's able to work his hand down in a lot of situations, and that Kricketune just helps fill it back up. He's going to Pokemon Communicate here away the not Unbroken Bonds. Is it Unbroken Bonds Mew? Yeah, the Unbroken Bonds Mew. I think that he might have been playing the promo one, though, to go get a Mon, Dragapult, and then he's just going to have to shred this turn because he's lacking energy. So I know he has a shred attack. I'm not seeing any of my, I'm not too worried about it. I think what we're just going to have to do here, attach energy for a turn. Hopefully we don't run into another Crushing Hammer. And then we're probably just going to Intrepid Sword. The Aegislash is not very useful in this matchup. I could put down the Zacian. I don't hate that. We're probably going to need 2 Zacians in the matchup. So, that's pretty much fine. And my opponent is just going to, or I'm going to go with the Intrepid Sword here. I get 2 energies, and I'm feeling pretty good. Alright, my opponent gets the Old Rod off the top. All they can really do is put that Scoop Up block Mr. Mime. I'm not playing any Scoop Up net, so I don't really know why my opponent wants that Mr. Mime in his deck, but I don't know. Either way, I think it's probably just what he top decked and just ripped with it. My opponent, again, looks like he's probably stuck on energy. That's pretty awesome for us. Oh no, he actually had another energy, but he's going to attach it to the Gengar and Mimikyu. Probably going to want a Horror House GX maybe next turn. Just try and stall us up. The one thing that we're going to find out in this matchup is that our Full Metal Wall is kind of ineffective. And what I mean by that is that my opponent only ever really needs a maximum of 2 energy to attack. So, that the Gengar, the Full Metal Wall, that getting rid of the energy, not going to be super helpful. It'll be super helpful in the sense that I'll be able to limit the damage my opponent does, but, in general, not great. My opponent does get into the energy spinner there. You saw last turn they ended up retreating and going into the Horror House GX, and now they found a second energy. They're going to want to Poltergeist this turn. However, I decide not to Intrepid Sword. I resist Psychic, and I only had 2 trainer cards in my hand, so I knew I was only taking 80 damage, so I was definitely going to be able to live through that. We are going to be able to Metal Saucer and energy from the graveyard to the Zacian, and then Full Metal Wall here, removing all energy from my opponent's side of the field. He's already used his Horror House GX, so he no longer has a GX attack. The Gengar and Mimikyu is going to take 2 more energy before he can even start Poltergeisting, and I'm not going to give him the opportunity too often. We're looking like we're in a very good spot, and we have the Zacian just ready to start Brave Blading. I mean, we can, kind of almost cycle those Brave Blades if we want to with a Pokédoll, so we're sitting in a pretty happy spot. And then if my opponent is going to want to go the Dragapult Vmax route, we're going to start powering up the Zacian V so we can get that guy ready to wall the Dragapult. My opponent, as you can see here, the Kricketune, pretty awesome in their deck. They've been cycling cards pretty good. This is, again, a deck I hadn't really seen a lot of. I think right before this tournament, Zach Lesage put out like a top 10 decks for the month, and this Dragapult it was like the top 10 successful decks at the Players' Cup so far. This was like early into the Players' Cup 4 keys, and this was one of the ones that he highlighted. It was literally this exact list. I recognized it because I watched that video, went straight into this tournament and saw this list, so I was kind of wondering if my opponent was maybe inexperienced, hadn't been playing the deck a lot, but I hadn't seen it at all. I hadn't played against it at all, so playing against it was kind of new to me, and I learned some things, kind of, like my Full Metal Wall is not going to be very effective, kind of stuff like that. But in a turn game like this, where my opponent is just incredibly stuck on energy, we're in a really good spot. We're already at the point here where we have a full Zacian. We were able to, I think he forced us to the bench with like I can't remember what it was, Boss's Orders, Escape Rope, something like that. So we have the Zamazenta. We start energizing at the Zamazenta. We use the Zacian V's Intrepid Sword on the second Zacian to start powering that bad boy up. And I think next turn it's looking like we're probably just going to be able to Professor's Research to fill up this new hand, hopefully find a switch, some energy attachments, start attaching some energy, start Brave Blading, and we're in a really good spot, especially if we just naturally draw a switch or something like that. Then we can start, Boss's ordering, stuff like that. My opponent is starting to build up their bench a little bit. They were able to get it on a Horror Psychic Energy on Mimikyu, a Horror Psychic Energy on the Dragapult Vmax. I think at this point, my opponent probably would have been better served leaving the Gengar and Mimikyu alone and powering up either 1 Dragapult Vmax or 2 Dragapults, kind of to spread the love a little bit, just because those are going to be hard for me to kill. There's not really going to ever be a good chance, it's just going to be more work for me to kill those, and those are the main attackers in my opponent's deck. I'm going to play generally smart enough that I'm not going to have to worry about taking too much damage from Poltergeists. So we do the thing. We get our we do the thing. We do the Professor's Research. We find a switch. We're thinking about going into the Zacian, getting the 1-hit KO on here. I'm doing the math in my head, and I know that if my opponent just goes for the Poltergeist, which is going to be the most damage he's going to be able to do, he's not going to be able to knock out my Zacian. I'm going to make it so that he does even less damage by quick balling an energy into the graveyard. That gets rid of another trainer, the quick ball, and I'm going to be able to get rid of the Metal Saucer from my hand and accelerate energy to my Zacian V. So I'm feeling pretty good. Now if he attacks me thanks to my Full Metal Wall, he's only going to do 70 damage to me with the Poltergeist. So we'll kind of see what his plan is. We end up getting, Guzma Hala, Power Plant. So now he's back up to doing 200 minus 30, doing 170 damage, which I don't love, but it's not the end of the world. Let's see. He goes for the Eldegoss to fill his bench up. I'm not too upset about that, honestly, because that's just another attacker. Now he has, instead of me having to two-hit KO a Dragapult Vmax or a Gengar Mimikyu, there's now 2 targets left on the bench that I can one-hit KO with the Brave Blade. So putting the Eldegoss down, I'm pretty glad about. We also get the Caitlin and Cynthia here, which is awesome because we're going to be able to get back one of our boss's orders. We play 3 boss's orders, so we've used one. We're going to be able to get a second one back from the graveyard. We have 1 more in the deck, so we're looking at a situation where all we have to do, we basically boss game, not turn after turn, but whatever. Our opponent gives us the Escape Rope, which for me, I'm kind of like, that's pretty bonkers, because now you're going to make it so my Zacian is going to be able to Brave Blade again for free. I was going to have to find a switch out, but now, you know what? No matter what you do, whether you kill Lillie's Pokédoll or let me put it back into the bottom of the deck, I'm going to be Brave Blading next turn. And I just don't, to me, not great. Also, I'm looking at here, and I think what I might end up doing is if I can find 1 more energy, I'm actually just going to be able to, Assault Tackle, whatever Zacian or Zamazenta V's attack is, and that'll actually strip him of the Horror Psychic energy if I'm able to do that. So, yeah, he sees the writing on the wall. I'm not feeling entirely confident because I still have to make some plays and draw the right cards, but my opponent just, goes into the second game here. All right, game 2. I'm up 1-0 now. We are 1 win away from making top 4 in this tournament. All we got to do is play well. Maybe get a little lucky. Who knows, I think this matchup is pretty even. I just feel, like I've said a million times, just feel very inexperienced in the matchup. So we get to start this time where we are the ones that have the Zacian, which I think is our ideal start in this matchup because of the Gengar Mimikyu shenanigans with the Horror House GX and the Poltergeist. And my opponent has to mulligan themselves, which does allow us to draw an extra card. I think it was the boss's orders that we drew or something. It was another trainer, so it kind of worries me in terms of the Horror House GX. If I don't find a Benchmon this turn, then we could see a Horror House into Poltergeist game. But look at my hand, we got a quick ball. We're going to be able to go get the Lucario and Melmetal. And my opponent hits us with the Oops. And what he ended up doing was misselecting his Mon that he grabbed with the Pokemon Communication. He ended up grabbing a Dragapult Vmax when I think he was probably wanting a Dragapult. So we're in a spot where we're like, okay, our opponent's made a mistake. Things are feeling pretty good, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling like I just have to win this game, and we already put us in a good spot. I can't spell the word true, which is cool. No big deal. I think we're probably gonna quick ball ourselves for Lucario Melmetal or a second Zacian. I could see, either way being pretty decent. Yeah, we'll get the second Zacian because we're just going to want to start Intrepid sorting on the bench. And I think the ideal idea here is that we attach energy, we Intrepid Sword for hopefully 1 or 2, and then maybe we find ourselves in a situation where we're able to Metal Saucer switch in and kill this guy for game if he doesn't have anything better. So there, we attach Metal Energy, we find a second Metal Energy. All we need off the top of the deck now, in some way or fashion, is another Metal Energy and a switch card, and hopefully he doesn't have a bench, but he's going to have the quick ball. So he's going to get rid of that Dragapult Vmax, probably go find himself a Dragapult or Gengar Mimikyu. Not entirely sure. Yeah, go get the Dragapult V. Okay, cool. And, we're still in a spot where, again, if we find a Metal Energy, we are not going to be able to use Boss this time, but we can, Professor's Research, but if we find a Metal Energy and then boss up the Dragapult, that puts us really far ahead. He does have 2 Crushing Hammers, and he hits one of them. So now I'm thinking to myself, well, we're probably not going to be able to boss up. We're going to need, to Professor's Research, find a Metal Saucer, if we're going to be wanting to Brave Blading this turn. So he does play the Mr. Mime down that prevents Scoop Up. I don't have any ability to remove my Pokemon from the bench, so not really sure what he was going for here. We end up drawing a Zacian. I'm thinking to myself, do we need a third Zacian? What would a third Zacian for us do in this match? I kind of think now that I kind of would like the third Zacian, only because one of them is supposed to be Poltergeist fodder. It's Horror House Poltergeist fodder, right? I end up getting rid of it. That's my last Zacian. The 4th one is prized. I go and get the Lucario and Melmetal. And, it's kind of like, whatever. I kind of think if I had done it now, I maybe would have went and would have just used the Zacian. Just knowing that the Lucario and Melmetal, I think, is more of a late game play in this matchup. We do find the Metal Saucer, and we do find the Energy. So if we wanted to, we could have a full Brave Blade powered up. But we don't have a way to switch into the active, and we don't have a way to boss up anything that we would really want to kill. We're going to go with the Metal Saucer to use it. We're going to attach an Energy, and I think what I end up doing here is attaching Lucario Melmetal. That puts us 1 away from being able to Full Metal Wall, which I like. And then we just get to Intrepid Sword. The only thing that this does here, okay, we do find an Energy, but I was going to say if we didn't find an Energy, it does make us incredibly vulnerable to a potential Marnie. Marnie could have been very scary there, so I'm glad that I at least found the Energy. I'm probably going to have to fight off 1 or 2 more Crushing Hammers. He's already used 2 of them, and he went 1 for 1, so we'll have to see how that goes. My opponent does find the Dragapult Vmax. He's going to evolve that Dragapult, so now that's going to be a 2-hit KO. And I'm kind of thinking, god dang it, it would have been so nice. It would have been tough and pretty much impossible, especially after that Marnie. But it would have been, he Marnied me, right? Yeah. But it would have been, or whatever the situation was, whatever he did to me. Oh, the Crushing Hammer. It would have been difficult because of the Crushing Hammer, but I would have really preferred to been able to boss up and kill the Dragapult my last turn. He has another Professor's Research, so he's really digging through his deck. I wouldn't be surprised to see more Crushing Hammers here. And there he finds the Gengar and Mimikyu. We know how much of a pest that can be, so not too excited to see that big guy. He does end up going through his deck a little bit more with the Crobat V, and he finds the 3rd Crushing Hammer, and he hits it, and takes the energy off my Lucario and Melmetal, and now he's going to be able to start maxed Phantoming. He already has 30 damage to the Zacian. He gets to place some counters. I think he might actually take out my Lillie's Pokédoll, which, I don't know, I guess, I don't know. Lillie's Pokédoll would have been useful for me later, but right now it's not that big of a thing. Oh, he goes into the Zacian, and I don't take any, or was he going into the Zamazenta? That could have been some sort of bug there. I'm not entirely sure what happened, why we didn't take any damage from the Max Phantom. Maybe he took too long to place his counters and his turn passed? Not sure. I'm pretty confused. I actually remember this happening now. This was obviously, we recorded this a couple weeks ago, and I'm remembering this again thinking, why is that happening? Really have no clue why the Max Phantom didn't go off correctly, and now I'm kind of thinking here, wait, does he not have the ability to hit my bench? Did he aim for the wrong Pokemon? What was the big deal? I'm starting to run out of time. I just can't really think about what I want to do. There's nothing really to Pokédoll for. There's nothing. I can't Mallow and Lana because of the Mimikyu preventing the healing. And we're just going to go with the Guzma Hala. There's nothing else from our deck that we really want to dig for. We already don't have any more Zacians in the deck. What we do get to do here is we get to go get one of our Pokemon tools, and we get to get a Coating Metal Energy. So, again, always thinking about the Poltergeist in the back of my mind. Maybe I thought too much about it in this matchup, that I maybe shouldn't have focused on it quite as much, but we go and get, I'm always thinking about how many trainer cards I have in my hand. We end up putting the Metal Goggles on Lucario and Melmetal, attaching energy to Lucario and Melmetal, and then we Intrepid Sword with our Zacian V that's in the active spot, and draw a few more cards. Fan of Waves come in, which means I really wish that I had, not put down the Coating Metal Energy. I'm literally still thinking about why the damage didn't go through. I was thinking about asking, maybe he understood, what the heck was up. But, I end up not saying anything. I'm incredibly confused. We are in a situation, though, next turn where even if he max Phantoms again, we are going to be able to bring up the Lillie's Pokédoll, and we're going to be able to, Metal Saucer onto the Lucario and Melmetal, hopefully get that ready for a full Metal Wall GX, but he Marnies. So our best laid plans, I think in this match, I remember that my opponent ends up being able to Marnie at some very key times, which works out really well for him. Okay, he is able to damage this time. He does take out the Lillie's Pokédoll here, so I think what we're going to have to do is possibly go into the Zacian or go into the Zamazenta. Well, no, we go into the Zacian because we want to start Brave Blading. We actually have the boss's orders too, so we're able to boss up, I think, this Crobat and just knock it out. I wonder if we should have tried to get some damage on the Dragapult, but I don't know. We got the Tag Call into Mallow and Lana, Cynthia and Caitlin. Two Cynthia and Caitlins because, well, we can't heal, but we could have used the Switch. So I think what we're thinking here, are we not thinking that we're going to boss up? I know we're thinking the Cynthia and Caitlins that maybe we go and get bosses again. Are we just drawing here? I kind of think I boss up and kill the Crobat. Alright, we attach a Metal Energy. Or are we thinking if we get rid of a Metal Energy and we draw the Metal Saucer that we're able to full Metal... Okay, we just get rid of the boss. But we are able to go get a second boss, or we want to get the Marnie. Oh, I'm not so sure about this line. And we find a Switch. Energy... Didn't find the Metal Saucer that we needed. I wonder if I actually should have thrown away a Metal Energy instead of throwing away the boss. I think the boss could have been nice here. It could have been really good to Crobat. But maybe I'm thinking because his hand's so big that I'm going to want to Marnie next turn. Alright, well, we Brave Blade, but due to the Horror Psychic Energies, we're going to take 40 damage. Those Horror Psychic Energies are a pain. They're so devastating in Psychic decks. Galaxy Mewtwo, Dragapult Vmax. The Horror Psychic Energies are incredibly powerful. We are in a situation here where, we put the Dragapult on notice. Potentially, I'm thinking here, probably what I'm thinking now is I could be in a place where if I'm able to knock out the Dragapult, then I just have to knock out the Gengar and Mimikyu, and then I win the game. So my opponent just max Phantoms in. I think he put energy down on his Dragapult V or his Gengar and Mimikyu. I'm, again, scared of the Gengar and Mimikyu. I'm kind of thinking to myself, how do I get to Full Metal Wall here? I want to do that to, stop taking a little bit of damage. It's 30 damage a turn. It really adds up off of that Full Metal Wall GX. So I end up going for the Cynthia and Caitlin here. I feel like I might go for the Marnie. I'm running out of time. I have to do something. What do we Tag Call for the Mallow and Lana that's in the deck? Yeah. That way we can switch and then switch back in. I don't think that's terrible. Or do we just switch in Full Metal Wall? It's not the easiest Pokemon. They have to give up an energy to retreat with the Dragapult. Doesn't have free retreating with the Dragapult Vmax, right? So looking at my opponents, they have enough prizes. I'm kind of wondering if I should have actually, just... Do I Full Metal Wall here, or do I switch back in with the Mallow and Lana? Okay, I'm just gonna Full Metal Wall. Okay, sure. I should have gone for the knockout. Even if they revenge knockout, then I get to Full Metal Wall the next turn. Yeah, thinking back at this, it's kind of iffy. We're going to get to Metal Saucer. That's cool. We only have one in the graveyard. We Full Metal Wall GX here. I don't like my move. I think I should have Mallow and Lana back up, knocked it out, and then even if he revenge kills me, I just get to Full Metal Wall GX the next turn. Because even now, I still have to switch in to knock this out. And what am I going to do? Knock out a Pokemon that has, barely any health remaining? It would have been nice to knock off 2 energy. Oh, and he has the boss's order, so he's going to get to Poltergeist to kill my... Yeah, so that's a real crucial turn. I don't even think I saw it at all while I was playing. How exactly that would have all played out. But now I'm just... I just made a huge mistake, right? He still has the ability to Full Metal to Horror House GX and into the Poltergeist. Yeah, not looking great for me. I think that I'm looking back at this now, I can see that this was just a very crucial turn. All right, we will end up Marnieing this turn, throwing all those supporters back into the deck. We end up drawing some more supporters out. We get another Lucario and Melmetal. Not sure how much energy I have left in the deck. Hopefully I check here. Okay, we're not going to use the Lucario and Melmetal. We don't have any mons. I don't even check what my energy situation is. So I don't even know if it's worth it to put down the Aegislash. Let's see. We find out that there was only 2 more in. So okay, so it definitely wouldn't have been worth it. We're just going to have to try and power up this Lucario and Melmetal. Hopefully, again, get the situation where we knock out Gengar Mimikyu, and then we knock out Dragapult Vmax with the boss's orders. Yeah, if I had gone back, if we had just gone back and I think used the Zacian to knock out, we would have taken 3 prizes. They would have revenge KO'd, but then we would have just been able to Full Metal Wall, and we would have been in a great spot to strand the Gengar and Mimikyu with no energy up in the active spot and slowly beat it down to end up only taking our 3 more prizes after knocking it out. So regrets, but that's the game sometimes. Even if he had then gone up with the Dragapult, I would have just been able to beat that thing down too. Should have gone... Definitely could have made this game a lot easier for myself looking at it, but that's kind of the benefit for me of doing these games right now, is that I, get to go through that again. All right, my opponent Marnie's, I think that's probably kind of helpful for me, especially if I'm able to find my last energy. We actually have more than 1 energy in the deck because we have those special energies. That's cool. We do have a switch. Well, we have a lot of switches. So if we need to utilize those, that's awesome. My opponent's going to start spreading some energy on their bench. Not exactly sure what they want to do. They're putting the Crobat into the deck with the Ordinary Rod. If they're going to have room on their, they're kind of in a place where they only really need to attach like 1 or 2 energy for the rest of the game, right? So I don't really know what they need to be necessarily drawing and digging for. They do Horror House GX. That's going to fill both of our hands up. And I think my boy is not long for this world. I wonder if I retreat. No, do I just Steel Fist? Okay. Well, what are we looking at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 energies in my hand. That's going to be a lot of damage. Even with my resistance and all that, not great. Yeah, if I had just gone back a few turns, I think if I had seen the better line, if I had seen the line that... Because I know definitely at the time I didn't want to sacrifice my Zacian V and lose my Pokemon that had the most energy in my hand, but seeing it now, it's pretty obvious. He does end up digging, finding the Tool Scrapper. He didn't need it. We've got a full grip of trainer cards. He did not need that Tool Scrapper, but he's going to be able to finish us off here. All he has to do is click that old Poltergeist button. Okay, he goes into the escape rope. This made this a little bit more complicated for himself, but he does go after the Pokemon that's weakened, assures the knockout, which is respectable, but yeah, he would have got there without it. He ends up taking game 2, and we go straight into game 3, the rubber match, the final match that decides who goes to top 4 and who's done playing for the night. We end up, I think we decide that we want to go first. And we like going first because Zacian V is the best first turn Pokemon in the entire game. So we end up getting 2 of those right off the bat, which is nuts. My opponent ends up having to mulligan, and we're feeling pretty good. We're gonna have 2 Zacians. We got energy in our hand. We're just gonna start powering those up. We even have the Switch boss. We're in a situation where we can very easily knock out a Dragapult V for 2 free prizes if my opponent, is in an interesting spot. He has the Dragapult V right there. Okay, we're thinking right here, all we have to do, I'm thinking, do I attach to the active or do I attach to the bench? This saves me in case he Marnies me, gets rid of my switches, all that. I end up going for the big play. I end up going for the energy to the active. And what I'm looking for here is that I'm going to energy to the active, Intrepid Sword, energy to the active, and then knock him out because he is not able to evolve this Dragapult Vmax on the first turn. What this makes me extremely susceptible to is it makes me extremely susceptible to the Gengar and Mimikyu Horror House GX. If he Horror House GXs, and, say I get 1 or 2 energies here, I end up finding energy, I'm 1 energy away, but if he's able to, if he has the switch cards, if he has the search cards to search for that basic Pokemon, then he's just going to Horror House GX and then knock me out with the Poltergeist next turn and make this difficult for me. He sees the line of play right away. He goes straight and gets that Gengar Mimikyu, and I'm thinking to myself, shit, all he needs is a switch card and an energy, and he has those. And my big play to, try and knock out the Dragapult VMAX ends up in vain. The silliness of what I'm seeing right now here, too, is I could have just done this. So what I wanted to do was protect against the Marnie. What I wanted to do was protect against the Marnie. And if I wanted to preserve the switch. I wanted to preserve my boss's orders, all that jazz. I should have energied the bench Zacian. I shouldn't have strayed from my original plan. We are screwed. We put ourselves so far behind the 8 ball here because now we have a full grip, and our opponent is basically going to be staring down our Mons that he's just going to be able to keep poltergeisting each turn and totally wrecking us. All he needs is 1 energy dropped here. He's kind of playing not so fast, so I'm kind of thinking to myself, oh shoot, does he not have the energy? If he doesn't have the energy, I'm getting away with highway robbery. He instead has the energy. He has the Dragapult. He was just kind of thinking about how to play his turn out. He's going to be able to fill his hand back up with the Kricketune. He's going to be able to do all that good stuff. Yeah, Air Balloon on the Kricketune. Go draw a couple cards here to fill his hand up, or he's going to be able to play down the last card. No, doesn't even need it. This would be devastating if he was able to find like a Crushing Hammer here and Crushing Hammer my Benchmon. We're so far behind the 8 ball because of the strategy that we ended up deciding to go with. And realistically, we didn't need to do that strategy. We probably didn't need to take the risk. But I've been playing already for a few hours. I was saying to myself, like, I just want to end it. I just want to go for the big play. And end up making a big mistake, losing all of our energy on our Pokemon. Here, what do? We throw up the Lucario and Melmetal, hoping that we tank a turn. I don't know about that play. All right, we put up the Zacian. I'm probably thinking to myself that I'm gonna have to go for the Full Metal Wall. Sacrifice a sec, because this is what the problem is here now, is I have to sacrifice a second Zacian. What am I thinking about doing here? I end up finding another Zacian. That's good. Am I just gonna throw away all these Marnies and everything, just get a full new grip? Yeah, I guess I do. I guess that's what I go for. Kinda not great. We start finding energies. Oh, we find the Metal Saucer. That's cool. And we just get to Intrepid Sword. We're, looking at what we've got now, we're not 100% out of it. If my opponent, maybe misses some energy drops, doesn't find the right stuff, he's not going to be able to kill me this turn with the Poltergeist, that's for sure. We are, we look like we have a huge grip, too. So he's got to be thinking to himself, oh, here comes another Poltergeist kill. He ends up bossing up. He does the switch for us, bosses up the Lucario and Melmetal. He's going to find out that he's only going to do about, 150 minus 20, 130 damage. He gets that heal jamming Mimikyu. He doesn't want to see me heal anymore. That does end up filling his bench up. I've avoided the Crushing Hammer so far. That's good. Okay, he Poltergeist. It's not going to do that much. We're going to be able to take Full Metal Wall and take a good amount of energy from him this turn. And it looks like we're going to be able to get another Brave Blade ready. Or we're going for the Zamazenta? No, we go for the Zacian. Where's the energy going, bud? I don't generally think of myself as a slow player, but I definitely have to think through. You know, you're given the time. You have the time on the clock. You're allowed to think a little bit. But having, you know, watched it and see myself play, this is another thing I've kind of learned is that, you know, in recording these videos, it'd be nice if I sped things up a little bit. You know, a little pace of play action. We do have another Brave Blade ready. And we get to Full Metal Wall. So we leave our opponent, with 1 energy on their side of the field. We have 5 energy on our side of the field. Air Balloon, though, they're going to get the perfect switch outs. And they're going to just be able to... What? Are they going to be able to knock me out this turn? No, they shouldn't be able to knock me out. But they are going to be able to start spreading damage, which is not good for me. Yep, the Max Phantom's going to come in here. He's got the balloons. He's got... Here comes Crushing Hammers. Oh, boy. Okay, Tails, let's go. Max Phantom. Yeah, we resist that. Don't take too much damage. He starts loading up there, though. We definitely got to switch in, right, and start busting. Who the Metal Goggles going to go on? I'm kind of doing the math in my head. I actually think it would have been... I don't know if I do this, but the math works out to put the Metal Goggles on the Zacian, right? Because he's doing 120, but minus 30, he's only doing 60. He's not doing too much damage to my Zacian, thanks to the Full Metal Wall and the Metal Goggles. We look at that stupid heel jamming Mimikyu again, thinking to ourselves how devastating it is that it's right there just bothering us. One unfortunate thing with how the math works out here is that we are going to end up switching our Lucario and Melmetal to the bench. And, you know, because of Max Phantom, you just get to put 5 damage counters on it. It only has 50 health left. So it ended up being not entirely effective switching him to the bench like that. If the heel jamming Mimikyu wasn't there, it would have been a whole different story. We would have been able to Mallow and Lana that boy to the bench, heal him up, and put him, you know, well out of the range of the Max Phantom's, you know, bonus effect. He does end up using his Tool Scrapper there. In general, I like it when they use the Tool Scrapper on only one tool, especially in my deck that's loaded up with a number of tools, but would have preferred to keep the Metal Goggles on there because it makes my Zacian just incredibly more difficult to kill. He ends up Marnieing me, which, again, is kind of sucky because we had energy, we had a switch card. Not great. We do end up getting an extra card. Okay, well, that puts us Metal Saucer, you know, Boss's Orders, all that good stuff. He misses another Crushing Hammer. I'm just, like, thanking my lucky stars that these misses are keeping me in the game. He's going to be able to, you know, knock out the Lucario Melmetal here, essentially put me, you know, in a very bad spot, put me in a place where if he attacks me once more with the Max Phantom, the game is over. I can't even really, you know... Not allowed to Brave Blade this turn, but even if I do, he's already got... There's no way he doesn't have one more energy in his hand there. I think what I have to do is probably retreat into the Zamazenta. And hopefully I'd be able to attack this turn, but it's going to be kind of iffy. This does kind of depend on what tag team trainer cards are in my deck, and if I think on the first turn of the game I might have thrown a bunch of them away, or it's super early in the game, so yeah, not great. All we have is Mallow and Lana's, because I think we ended up throwing away a number of Cynthia and Caitlin's early in the game. The Cynthia and Caitlin would have been huge for us here to hopefully find like another Metal Saucer and a switch card, stuff like that, but super unfortunate. I think maybe what I'm seeing here is that I potentially Mallow and Lana into the... Oh no, do I boss up the heel jammer? The heel jamming Mimikyu and try and knock it out? Is that the play? I don't know if that's the play. That might have been a mistake. But now I just don't have the ability to switch. I think there's no way that was the correct line of play. I guess what I'm hoping... I mean, because there's just no way he's not going to have one more energy, right? I was already thinking this earlier, that all he takes, one energy to retreat. That definitely, yeah, he's got the escape rope. That was not the play. I guess what the escape rope does here is it does let me put up the Zamazenta, and he's not going to be able to knock me out now, but I'm imagining he has a boss's orders in there somewhere and is going to, you know, finish the job on the Zacian. Alright, he's got the 2 energy. Does he have the boss? He goes for the Crushing Hammer. If he has the boss, this is just mean. He missed a lot of Crushing Hammers this game. Okay, he doesn't have it. Max Phantom deals some damage. Oh, that was perfect. He had perfect math again to knock me out. I can't even read. There you go. That's the game. All right, and that's it for the games. Unfortunately, we do fall 1-2 to our opponent. We miss out on top 4 cut by this one game, and we are unable to win this Team Challenge Qualifier. It was a fun 4 rounds. I really liked playing the Lucario and Melmetal. I just felt pretty uncomfortable these last 2 matchups. I think to me it was very obvious that the first 2 games against ADP, I'd played the matchup a lot. I felt really comfortable playing it. But then against the Galaxy Mewtwo and this Dragapult, I was more unfamiliar with the matchup and wasn't exactly sure how to handle it. We weren't able to win this team challenge, but there are more coming up, so we'll have to see how we do in those. If you want to see more Pokemon Trading Card Game Online content or some tabletop content or card openings, stick around on this channel. There'll be more coming soon. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.